we hear a lot about in the news, or maybe we hear about it from our friends or social media. What does it mean to have an inequality or for there to be inequalities?
Two things that have a different amount of something.
Yeah, different amounts. So if you have an inequality, if there's an inequity, does that mean something is fair?
No.
No, it means something's not fair, it's not the same, right? Okay, in math, we aren't going as in-depth with that into those social ideas, but we're going to talk about inequalities with just numbers. So an inequality is just a way to compare numbers. So it's a way to show, is one number bigger than the other? Is it less than the other? Is it the same? It's a way just to compare those numbers. Alright, so we have 4 terms we're going to show here, and then we just have 4 examples, and then a surprise music video at the end of the day. Ooh. Maybe. Alright, so a way to compare numbers. We're going to show the 4 up here, and I'm going to kind of make like a quadrant chart, but I'm going to do it as we go. So try and keep it kind of in one space here. So our first inequality is this symbol. So when you see that symbol, what does that symbol mean?
The side on the left is greater than the side on the right.
Yep, greater than. Just thinking too hard, Melody. This is a greater than sign. And greater than means what? Bigger, more. Smaller would be less than. For greater than, we want bigger or that idea of more. Alright, so for example, if I have x, x stands for a number, greater than 8. Who can give me a number bigger than 8? 9. Give me another number.
90 million.
90 million, 10. Okay, so we're going to show this on a number line. So a number line is a straight line, or straightish line. We're going to have tick marks that represents the numbers. Tick marks are the little dashes. Okay, my rule of thumb is to always have 5 tick marks, because that's enough to kind of know what's going on. But it's not too much that it's overwhelming. So I always do 5. If I put 8 in the middle, what's going to go on the right of 8? 9, and then 10. To the left is 7, and then 6. Alright, so what we want to ask ourselves is which numbers are greater than 8? And I heard all of you say 9 is greater than 8. So 9, does 9 work? Yes, so I'm going to put a little dot above 9 saying, yep, that works. Okay, are there any other numbers that work? 10. Is 10 greater than 8? Yep. So I'm going to put a dot above 10. What about 20? Is 20 bigger than 8? Yeah, but where is 20 represented on our number line? Because it's there. It's the arrow. It's this whole arrow. So all these numbers over here are going to keep going on and on and on. Are all those numbers going to be bigger than 8? Okay. What about 8? Is 8 greater than 8? No. So we're going to cross that out. It does not work. What about 8.5 though? Is 8.5 or 8.5 greater than 8? Yes. 8 and 5/10 is greater than 8. So we want it here. We want it all the way up to 8. Because even 8.000000001 is bigger than 8. So how can I show that it goes all the way up to 8, but it doesn't include 8? We're going to use a point, but it's going to be open. So we're going to be able to see the inside. So you want a circle that's white on the inside.
Can 8 be on the inside of the circle?
Sure, 8 could be on the inside of the circle. There's lots of ways to do this, okay? So it's open, meaning it doesn't include 8. 8 did not work. But then it's going to include all of these numbers and all these decimals in between, and it's going to keep going on and on and on. So we're going to draw that arrow showing it goes this way, and anything to that side is going to work. What? 62? Are 6 and 7 greater than 8? Nope, so that's showing that this side does not work. We won't be able to take any numbers from that side. All right, our next side is really similar. It's going to look almost the same. Nah.
No.
But it's like it's underlined. What does it mean when we see that underline? Is this a less than sign? Greater than or equal to. It's like they took a greater than sign and an equal sign and they combined it. That's where that underline comes from. Is the underline is actually part of the equal sign. It's both greater than or equal to. Okay, so if I have x is greater than or equal, so I'm going to use that line of the equal sign, to 8. Five tick marks on our number line. We're going to show all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 8. So I'm going to put 8 in the middle. Then we have 9 and 10, 7 and 6. So let's check. Let's check with the same ones here. Is 9 greater than or equal to 8? Okay, so that one works. What about 10? Is 10 greater than or equal to 8? Okay. What about 20? What's going to be the only difference in this one? 8. Is 8 greater than or equal to 8? Yeah, what is it? Equal to. So this one, it works. So I'm going to put a star next to that saying, yep, it works. So how are we going to go from that open circle, that open boundary showed us it didn't work? How am I going to show that it now works? Closed. Like a closed fist. If I tell you to hold up a closed fist, we're going to shade that in. So it's going to be a closed circle.
A big closed circle?
A kind of big closed circle. Big enough that we can tell it's closed and not just a random little dot. And then which way am I going to shade for the numbers bigger than 8? To the right. So there's there's a couple different ways to show this. I'm going to show a couple while we take our notes. One way is to do the line above, like I did on this first one. Another way is you can just make it really dark on that side. Make it kind of bold. Alright, so next up we have what? Less than. So less than is flipped around. And what does it mean to be less than someone?
Not as much as.
Not as much as. So if Phelan stands next to me, and we look at our heights, who is less than the other? I am less than Phelan, right? If we look at our heights. Thanks. Okay, so less than means to be smaller. Or it means to have fewer or be less. So if I want y is less than -2. Now some students in my earlier class said, but Miss Moreau, I could look at this and I could say -2 is greater than y. And I said, yep, you're right. Why do we call this the less than sign?
Because the y is less.
In math, most math we read from left to right. We read it in the same way we read English, left to right. Okay, so we read it left to right, which means that's a less than sign. All right, so I'm going to do a number line. Now, with a number line with negatives, we have to be really careful. In a number line with negatives, we have to think, where is our 0 going to be located? Our 0 is going to be above the negative, so it's actually going to go -2, -1, 0. And then to the left, we're going to have -3 and -4. So it's kind of confusing because with those negatives, it gets flip-flopped because with negatives, everything is flip-flopped. So the whole point is negatives are opposite. All right, but with negatives, we have to really think of things that are smaller. What is smaller than -2? Is -1 smaller than -2? No, -3 is actually smaller than -2. So -3 would work. What about -10? Is -10 smaller than -2? Yeah, because the more negative something has, the smaller it is. The more negative something has, the smaller it is. So -10 is on that arrow. It's going to keep going to the left. What about -2.2? Is -2.2 smaller than -2? Yeah, because from 0, where is -2.2? I'd go to -2, and then I'm going to go 0.2 more. So that would work. What's not going to work? -1 will not work. Or -2. But everything up to -2 works. So how am I going to show that it's everything up to that -2, but not including -2? Open. Good. So we're going to do an open. And which way is my arrow going to go? To the left. And with your arrow, it's really important you don't just do a line. You do need to have an arrow on there showing it's all the numbers that continue. It doesn't just stop there. It keeps going on and on and on. All right, last one. We're going to keep this one pretty short. This is the last vocab, and then we have 4 examples. And I took up like a whole page doing this, so some of you I know didn't, but I'm going to have to go to the next page after this. All right, what does this sign mean? Less than or equal to. Because something can't be smaller and the same at the same time. Can someone be the same height as me and be smaller than me at the same time? No. Okay, so it's less than or equal to. So if I have y is less than or equal to -2. We aren't going to go through the whole testing out on this one. We're going to put -2 somewhat in the middle. Doesn't always have to be in the middle, but it's kind of nice to put it in the middle. Kaden, can you put your phone away? Thanks. -1 is going to go to the right, and then 0. So it's going to look almost identical to this one, because we have that less than. It's in common with the less than. What's different about our new one? Why is it going to be closed? Why are we going to shade it in? Because it's equal to. Is -2 equal to -2? Yeah, so because we have this equal to, we can do a closed circle. So we're going to fill it in. That's closed. And then in which direction our number is going to be getting smaller? Left. This is how I learned to do inequalities. Not a lot of people do it like this anymore, but I like it because it's just messy, and I'm a messy person sometimes. But you can just do a line like you did. I'm just showing you the different ways to do it. It's fine. You do you. Alright, I am like totally out of room, so I'm going to go to the next page. We have 4 examples. You'll probably need a new page anyways at some point, but if you don't, that's okay. Just keep doing it on yes. About 30 more seconds for those of you that need it. Alright, we're going to do 4 examples. 3 of them are going to be pretty quick, and you guys are going to be like, why the heck is Miss Morrell taking so much time? I know. That's because I just like to make you guys sit and suffer. Just kidding, there's going to be a reason. So, problem 1, if you need to go back to that page, I can go back at the end. Problem 1, we're going to have x plus 6 is greater than negative 17. So now we're going to solve an inequality, and it's really similar. I did it on my next page. Okay, this is really similar to how we solved equations. I'm going to draw a line down the inequality, but I like to not actually cross it out, so mine, I kind of do it one line at a time. How are we going to get x by itself? Yeah, to get rid of adding 6, we're going to minus 6. And if we do it on one side, do it to the other side. So my answer, I get rid of that 6. It's no longer there. We undid that. What kind of operation do we call that when we undo? Inverse. Good. Inverse operation. So we get x is greater than negative 23. So what that tells us is that if we take any number bigger than negative 23 and we plug it in, it should work. Okay? So, give me a number bigger than negative 23.
Negative 80,000.
Negative 80,000 is not bigger than negative 23. Negative 6. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. Is 0 bigger than negative 17? Okay? Give me another number bigger than negative 23.
80,000.
80,000 plus 6 is 80,006. Is that bigger than negative 17?
Yeah.
Okay, what about negative 22 plus 6? That's negative 16. Is that bigger than negative 17? So this is going to show, this is going to show us all our answers. So we're going to graph that on a number line to show that graphically. We have it symbolically, now we want it graphically. So with negative numbers, we have to be really careful with how we do our number lines. I still goof this up to this day. This is something that I still have to think of. So negative 23 is going to be in the middle. Which direction is 0? Is 0 with this negatives, is 0 going to be to the left or is 0 to the right? To the right. So as I go left, I want to go further from 0. So what number would give me further from 0? Negative 24. And then further from 0 from that? Okay, from negative 23, what's going to get me closer to 0?
22. Still negative, so we get past 0. Negative 22, negative.
All right, so now we have to decide, are we going to have an open boundary? So is it going to be open at negative 23 or closed? Does it include this 23? No. So it's going to be open because we don't have that equal to. And which numbers are going to be bigger than negative 23? And some of you said some positive numbers. So we're going to go towards the positives. So negative 22, negative 21. And you can choose to show that however you want, whatever. I'm going between all the different ways with those lines, different ways to show it. All right, number 2. If you want to try and work ahead on this one, you can. Y minus 9 is less than or equal to 14. Y minus 9 is less than or equal to 14. So if you want to try and solve that, go ahead and work ahead. So how am I going to get rid of that minus 9? I want y by itself. Add 9. And if I add 9 on one side, add it to the other side. Good. So we're going to end up with y is less than or equal to, what is 14 plus 9? 23. All right, so let's check that work really quick. And I know you guys are like, oh, we know. Okay, I get it. But there's a method, I promise. So pick a number less than 23. 22. 22 minus 9, does that give us a number less than 14? Okay, give me another number. 21 minus 9. Does that give me a number less than 14? Yep, we could probably keep going on and on, but we won't. We'll stop there. All right, when we make our number line this time, we're going to remember we're dealing with positives. So when we have a positive 23, where is a positive 24 going to go? To the right. It gets bigger to the right. So 24 and 25, it becomes more positive to the right. To the left, it becomes more negative, or like we're taking away. So 23, 22, 21. What do you notice about our two number lines for 1 and 2? Yeah, they're flipped. So this went 25, 24, 23, negative 22, negative 21. This goes 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So they're going in the opposite directions, almost. Why is that? One's negative and one's positive. Good. All right, this time, with number 2, are we going to have an open circle? It doesn't include it, or a closed, it includes it? Closed. In which direction am I going to shade for numbers less than 23? To the left. All right, 2 more. All right, number 3. We have 4x is less than negative 24. 4x is less than negative 24. So we're going to ask ourselves, how do we get x by itself? Divide by what? 4. And if we do that on one side, we're going to do it on the other side. So we're going to end up with x is less than negative 6. Now let's test that, make sure we're right. Give me a number less than negative 6. negative 5. Is negative 5 less than negative 6? Nope. Try again. What's a number less than negative 6?
Negative 5.
What?
Negative 5.
What did you say, Carden?
Negative 7.
Negative 7. Let's start there. So 4 times negative 7. Does that give me a number less than negative 24? Is negative 28 less than negative 24? Yep, it's smaller. Okay, what about negative 1,000? I get negative 4,000. Is negative 4,000 less than negative 24? Yes, so it works. So let's graph that real quick. Let me just have one more problem. You want to try and work ahead on the graph. Biggest thing with this graph is that it's negative, so you have to really remember which direction you're counting. When I do negatives, for some reason, I always fill out the left side first. But Miss Sawyer, when she does negatives, we noticed this, like I think our second year teaching together. I always do these numbers first. I always go away from 0. But Miss Sawyer always counts towards 0 first. Just personal.
I think in my head, okay, negative 6, I'm going to move towards 0, so I would do negative 5, negative 4.
And I think in my head, I want to move away from 0, so I'm going to go to negative 7, negative 8. So if you tried it on your own, make sure that you got those negatives in the right spot. All right, is this going to be an open boundary or a closed boundary? Why open? Good, we didn't have that equal. We didn't have that underline. And do I want numbers bigger or numbers smaller? Smaller. So which direction are numbers going to get smaller? Is it going to be more negatives or towards the positives? More negatives. All right, last problem. Or is it? Just kidding, it is. All right, negative 5y is less than or equal to 20. So we're going to divide by what? Negative 5. And if we do that on one side, we do it on the other side. Okay. I have not, by the way. So y is less than or equal to what? Negative 4. So let's test that out. Let's try negative 5 times negative 4, see if that works. What's negative 5 times negative 4? 20. Is 20 less than or equal to 20? Yep, it's equal. Okay, give me a number less than negative 4. What? Negative 6 is less than negative 4. So what's negative 5 times negative 6? That's 30. Is 30 less than 20? That didn't work. Give me one more. Let's try one more number. Let's see if that was a mistake. Negative 5 times another number less than negative 4. Negative 80. That gives me a positive 400.
That is
Is 400 less than or equal to 20? No, so it doesn't work. So what happens here is we went from a positive 20 to a negative 4. So it went from positive to negative. We went from a negative y to a positive y. So when we switch from positive to negative, negative to positive, everything is flipping. From positives to negatives, negatives to positives, it flips. So the sign needs to flip. Just flips. Okay, and that's because we divided by a negative 5.
Okay, so if you divide, it
Not if you divide. If you divide by a negative. Okay, so if we look at this one, why didn't we flip? This one we didn't flip, and we tested it. Did it work? Yeah. Why didn't we flip it here? We divided by a positive 4. Okay? So, when you divide, we need to flip the inequality. And this only happens in 2 cases. It only happens when you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number.
You might want to write that down and maybe you can highlight it or mark it or something like that. It's really important to remember.
So important. Because when we divide or we multiply both sides by the negatives, both sides are getting switched. So that means we need to switch our inequality. In fact, this is so important. Miss Sider loves this so much. Why do you hate it so much?
I don't hate it.
You do. This is so important that I found this really cool music video about this. Well, wait till the music video. Maybe there's going to be something in the video that you're like, dang, this was awesome. I want to write it down. You guys, this music video. It's.
We didn't finish, did we?
Yeah, we just weren't going to graph that one because I was like, you're going to miss this super cool music video though. Okay. Ready for the music video?
No.
It has 12. What's happening?
So who was it?
It's not working.
Is this Hannah Thornton?